lower bracket with a spot in EWC on the line.
Yeah, that's the point right there. Revenge, right? Of course, this is the story for me. Hot and cold versus former organization, because this is a tale that has been told many, many times. Matt, people are done playing with hot and cold. They throw him off their roster, and what happens? He always dusts himself off, joins a new team, and arguably has even more success. Now, it's going to be hard to top what he just had with the M80 guys, obviously winning 2 majors, but he goes to a team that was struggling, clearly missing a leadership figure in the team. Well, what do? They obviously get hot and cold on the line, and immediate success with him joining the roster. He now takes them, makes playoffs, and then now he has a chance to go against his former team, who just threw him away, and prove himself that maybe he shouldn't have got dropped. And what a better game to kind of set up, right, to make EWC, right? And I know as players, we like to talk like any game's kind of the same, right? You go into every game the same. But I know, Matt, I've talked to Hot and Cold. I've talked to Cold many, many times. This is the series he's wanted the entire stage, right? He wants nothing more than to go against his M80 boys and knock them down to losers.
Well, M80 are the behemoth of a team, the team to beat this stage. It's going to be a lot easier said than done, especially because of the addition of Savage, not just an incredibly capable IGL, but an EWC champ. He's coming off a victory with Team Secret just last year.
Yeah, I mean, that's the bigger headline, especially for this M80 roster, outside of just being able to qualify for EWC. It's that man right there you see lifting up that trophy, putting it actually in the trophy itself. Savage, he needs to be able to defend that title once they get to EWC, if they get to EWC, because you don't want to go to a major event, a big event like this, and not to be able to fight against your own, your chance to be able to fight for the title. So respectfully, Savage needs this win. He needs to be at EWC to defend that title. And then just the caveat of it, of bringing the team with him, being underneath the new banner, allowing M80
TikTok
to
keeps on
as well, and
restricting my live,
bring
so
home that esports World Cup champion title.
I'll just roll with it.
Home of M80.
Yeah, I almost, maybe a quick shot here, but I almost wish Savage would have received the invite maybe instead of Secret that we might be seeing from the EML side.
So if M80 didn't make it, it was just Secret that got the invite.
Why'd I end live? Well, I ended live because TikTok keeps on restricting it.
This is, of course, a big opportunity.
Like, it's not recommended
to have some success.
Like, it's not recommended for
but for 100 Thieves to come into the Siege scene for the first time this
year, it's not recommended to get on like people's For You page. I don't know why. Genuinely don't.
Yeah, and obviously they would have wanted to do that last stage when they picked up that team that we all were kind of hyping up to be a competitor, but they didn't have success. They didn't get a single win, but now with the changes that they made, they have a chance to not only get their first win this stage, now we're in playoffs, but now they have a chance to make an international event. And 100 Thieves, it's a giant organization. For them to come into Siege and be able to make these international events and kind of cement themselves in the NAL as a top competitor, I think is very, very good for our scene.
Well, Lex, you talked about how this is an opportunity for these teams to really, I mean, it's revenge for Hot and Cold, but tell me, I mean, how much this means for M80 as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's about bearing the hatchet for both sides of the coin. If you look at the argument for Hot and Cold, yes, he shouldn't have been dropped from M80. He was their IGL. They also made that change with Kino. There was big question marks going across the board. Now it's a situation where if Hot and Cold wins here, it's great for that side of the argument. Then everyone's like, we proved you wrong. Hot and Cold should have been there. You guys made the mistake. But on the side for M80 and the argument to be made there, they made the change with Kino. Then they immediately made the change with Hot and Cold, and they believe that system needed to change. They needed Ashen. They needed Savage to create the early game success, to be able to fundamentally be a stronger team than what they had with Kino and Hot and Cold. So it's an argument there that whoever wins this series here really is going to walk away for those arguments to be made, to just have that one up over the other and be like, we were right, you were wrong, this is what's going to be. So it really is a big grudge match in that regard.
Yeah, I would pay attention to Twitter, probably.
Oh,
after this match, there's going to be a lot.
Twitter, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a look at the bands to see where this one is headed right now. Of course, best of 3 territory for the first time, so not 1, maybe 2, but potentially 3 maps to go all the way. Kyle, talk to me about this. We got Labs, Bank, and Lair. We'll start with Labs. Do you think this is a good pick for 100 Thieves to get the upset here?
I mean, I see what they're thinking, right? It's a best of 3, so you're going to go to a map where, I mean, M80 hasn't shown this yet. This has been one of the maps that they have been banning a good amount. I think it's the second most that they've been banning, so they haven't showed it. 100 Thieves thinking they have the edge because it's a best of 3. What does M80's map pool look like? So overall, if we're just sticking with Labs, yeah, I think I do like this pick.
And it's an interesting one because, again,
a Labs game?
Thieves,
interesting.
They lost it to Dark Zero, but again, the sample size for both these teams, it's really not there. It really is a big toss-up.
Interesting.
But then you look at a map like Bank, that's another big toss-up. M80 hasn't played it yet, and when we know from historically from Savage. He was one of the best creators of this map for Secret, but it's that last map layer. That is the biggest one that I'm looking at that I do think inevitably we do end up getting to, where on the side of M80, they are 3-0. They're flawless on it, and the only team to beat 100 Thieves on that roster was M80, where they are 2-1 respectively. So that should be the one we are looking at the most if we get there.
Yeah, I think the bank pick is also really interesting from M80 because that's a great point that Savage is very comfortable from his former team calling on bank, and also the fact that Matt doesn't like bank. I mean,
I don't got 100 Thieves.
He was on that team.
M80.
It was a map that they struggled against, even losing to Cruelty. Yeah, I just threw that out there. They did lose to Cruelty, right? So it is a bit of a struggle. So it's kind of funny that they're picking into that. And then, like you said, Lair, both teams love it. In fact, 100 Thieves never bans the map, and they played on it earlier this stage in a game that both of us were saying 100 Thieves shouldn't have lost, right? They were in control of that game. Gaveni just was a monster, right? He was a monster. Can he do that again? Probably. I think he's the best fragger in NA, but hopefully not today for our prediction.
Well, your prediction, as you said, was 100 Thieves in the pre-show, and it surprised me that you kind of both were leaning that direction because of the success that M80 had. But Lax, let's talk about the group stage they had ending on a loss and how that could actually be a positive here. I mean, we talked about this a lot with Savage as well, how they didn't have a loss all stage. They didn't really have anything to learn from. Could they take some lessons away from that 8-7 OT loss?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Savage said it best. You know, they'd rather lose in group stage than losing into playoffs. And I think that's a perfect mindset to have. I think just as a former player, that's where you want to lose first, not come into your first loss into playoffs, because there is a lot you're going to take from that game that you did lose against Wildcard, especially with how close it was. I mean, there's a lot of things that you could probably nitpick. I don't think they played a bad game by any means, but it's the small things in Siege that really cripple the bigger teams. And I'm sure, you know, whether it's misplayed of an operator, maybe they could have used a different operator situation, even just the teamwork of just fundamentally playing in certain positions better, that is going to be more critiqued and look at possibly going into the future of these playoffs and then extending possibly into an EWC.
So you're saying there's a chance because who lost that layer?
There's always a chance.
Who lost that layer was 100 Thieves.
It was 100
so
Thieves.
You're saying they did a little bit more learning for this series. I like that.
I think so.
I like that.
Well, Kyle, real quick, we talk a lot about how best of threes and best of ones are a completely different dynamic. You've been in that fire as a player, as a coach. How does that dynamic change, right, from best of ones to best of threes? How can a team like M80 or G2, like we saw earlier, right, be so dominant in best of ones and then potentially falter in best of threes? Like, what is the biggest change that
longevity?
Well, I mean, your map pool gets tested a little bit more, and I think that's kind of what it was for G2 a little bit. They were doing a little experimenting, but I don't want to talk for them. Might have a video about that soon, but yeah, best of ones. I mean, you're able to ban 4 maps. That's a lot of maps that you can ban. You pretty much know what map you're going to be playing the week before. So best of 3, you're a bit tested here, as we're going to see with M80 going to a brand new map for them. We're going to see how that test kind of plays out.
All right, well, we got M80 and 100 Thieves going toe-to-toe for a spot in the Esports World Cup. The winner will go to Paris in just a few weeks. So to get things started, we go over to Guz and Xenox to start the day.
Thank you, boys. Rise and shine. It's playoffs time. And as mentioned on the desk as well, guys, these matches today matter significantly. A spot at the Esports World Cup on the line. And as we've seen in other regions,
Mason, you know what it might be?
You want to take all the chances you can get.
Yeah, absolutely. You do not want to find yourself in that danger zone. You want to get
might be
today. What a grudge match to start up.
Because I'm on vertical, not horizontal.
In favor of
sorry, I'm on horizontal, not vertical.
Against the desk, who think that they could go out back to back. That would be quite the shock for the team that did so well in best of ones.
Yeah, I don't know about those predictions for me. I kind of go with the socials. M80, 66% favorites. I'm going to back them in. They looked absolutely amazing throughout the stage. But of course, the
all right, let me end this